Let's go. Wise Warriors, tap in. Wise Warriors, tap in. If you new, hit that subscribe button. Let me know where you tapping in or checking in. So, Wise Warriors, let's get to it. Give it 5 minutes and I'm going to do what I do. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Shout out to all the A1 Day ones. And thank you to all the Wise Warriors who've been tapping in lately. I appreciate the time. Give it to the 5 minute mark and I'm going to get to work, do what got to get done. Quick live, maybe I've been here for about an hour, hour and a half. Just do something real quick, let a few things be known. See the title, we're going to get into it. Give it to the 5 minute mark. Like I said, if you're new, make sure you sub. If you return to make sure you got the notification on and hit that like button. Before I get into the content, let me put this out there real quick. Also, 3 factors. First factor, why you hit the like button. So therefore, when you do like the video, it'll be easy for you to find it yourself. You ain't got to scroll through a bunch of content looking for it. You can just go back to your own like videos to see what's going on. 2, it'll help you out and help you separate whatever videos of mine that you might not want to see. 3, it helps the algorithm. So make sure you hit that like button. And like I said, if you are a subscriber, hit the notification so you could be notified like now that I'm live. All right, so Listen up. See, I was at a point when and where I didn't realize how being alone was so gratifying. Like I love family, friends, associates, business partners, but I don't need any of them. I need myself. How come I'm saying it like that? Is because, like myself, we all dispensable at one point. So even though I got love for those people, I don't need them. And that's not a shot at them. That's just the reality of the situation. That's the reality of the situation. I don't need them. And obviously, they may have love for me, but I know they don't need me. So that may be the difference between me and them. And being alone, it takes a lot of unnecessary headache out your life because the more you deal with people, the more harder you got to work to fulfill something for them, to make them happy. And in the process, you take away from yourself. That's how come in particular, a lot of men are not in relationships nowadays. It's too much that they have to go through on a daily basis to keep these things afloat, keep these relationships going. And after a while, it becomes aggravating, annoying, and tiring or tiresome. Like you don't want to keep going back and forth with someone because they're uncomfortable or unhappy or irritable or fed up or tired of something that is not in their control or in your control. And that start to bring unnecessary tension, headaches, and issues within your relationship with that person, family, friends, associates, co-workers, children, because I'm at a point that I'm not worrying about other people any longer because all it's doing is taking away from me. Like I'm at peace, and that peace of mind and that solitude is so important. I don't want to alter it any longer with the same nothingness all the time or every day, like constant internet scrolling for nothing. You're gonna see the same thing by different characters. TV shows, same storylines, different cast of characters, same clothes, different colors, same sneakers, same colors, getting together, same holidays, same thing. It may involve smoking, drinking, getting together with people, and you really don't want to do it. You just don't have nothing else to do, so why not do it when you could do other things? Read a book, meditate, enjoy your own company, enjoy your peace of mind. And if you do have a husband or a wife or a man or a woman, you get to enjoy them and y'all get to have adult, intelligent conversations and not keep talking about saying repetitive nothingness all the time or get aggravated or agitated because somebody asking you about something that you're doing that's really nothing. Like what you doing on your phone? Nothing. I'm just scrolling. Why? Or if you put something on that's intelligent or intellectual, educational, they get tired or they get bored or they don't want to pay attention or something else that's nothing get their attention, which that doesn't become the problem. The issue is that you don't want to deal with that any longer. They can do what they choose to do, but you don't want to deal with that any longer. Because from their perspective now, you become controlling. It's like, but how you gonna control what I do? It's not that. I'm in control of what I can do. My peace of mind is important. I don't even want to be around that unnecessary conversation no more, unnecessary strolling on the phone and looking at the same old videos on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, seeing the same people appear to be they doing more than what they do. And then when you even see them in real life or catch up to them in real life, you don't see none of the stuff they're allegedly posting or allegedly saying. And they don't want to have an authentic conversation with you in real life. They want to talk about things they really don't have enough knowledge about. But it's a hot topic, so they want to talk to you about it. Politics, sports, relationships, money, jewelry, cars. Like, I got peace of mind. It don't matter if I have a car or don't. So it's not gonna do anything for me. My peace of mind means more than a car or clothes or jewelry or relationships. It wasn't always like that. I'm humbled that it's like that for me now. I'm so appreciative of that because what is it really about to be in a relationship and with a family member, with a friend, with whoever? And is it really about something? What's going on? What's going on, Girl TV? What's going on? Thanks for tapping in. One of my newer subscribers decided to pull up and show some love. Um, I dropped the link. If you want to come up and hold a dialogue with me, you can. I just wanted to put that invite out there. This your first time pulling up to the show, so I wanted to be courteous and invite you up. So at the end of the day, being alone for me, definitely getting older is appreciated. And again, I love family. I love friends. I love coworkers, associates, acquaintances, but I don't need them because I know they don't need me. They may put it out there as if they do, but I know without them telling me or even showing me through actions or through frustrations or through aggravation or through being annoyed or through having a bad day that they don't need me. I tell myself that every day. Nobody needs me. And it ain't because I don't need them. It's because when it happens, it won't hit me catastrophic. Like I'm shocked. Yo, I'm shocked they talk to me like that. Yo, I'm shocked. My cousin don't want to talk to me. I'm shocked. My kids said that. I'm shocked. My wifey or my fiance or my girl said that. Yo, my coworkers came at me like that. None of that will shock me. Even being on the internet. I'm only on YouTube, but even being on the internet, it's not shocking. Somebody say something or be like, yo, you ain't nobody. I don't need you. I'm going to tell them, God bless them, have a good day. See, being alone has taught me how to keep the peace within myself and increase the peace within myself. It's not about other people any longer. It's not about other people any longer because I learned how to interact with others. So it's not about that no more. I had to learn how to interact with myself. I had to learn how to get along with myself. Hold on 1 second. I see you.
Hey,
What's going on?
I'm doing good. How are you tonight?
Well, I'm blessed. Happy to have you part of the show.
Yes, sir. I don't know. You came up in my home feed earlier today, and I saw you again tonight.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I'm happy. You decided to check the show out.
Yeah, my name is Regina. I'm from Texas. The time
Oh,
here is
okay.
7:55.
Right. No, I'm familiar with
Oh, you are?
Texas. Yes, yes, very
How?
familiar. Very familiar with Texas. I'm not going to get into the parts because we on social media, which is the internet. But yeah, I'm very
Mm,
familiar with Texas. I resided out there at one point. So I still have family in Dallas. I mean,
yeah.
well, in Texas. In both parts, Houston and Dallas.
Okay.
So I'm familiar. What I'm speaking about and what I'm getting into tonight is just being alone and or relationships, like, and not the relationships like women are good and men are bad, or women are bad and men are good. It's just that on a whole, where we at in 2025 and moving forward, people are not in unconditional relationships any longer. Like, you don't have to put your exact age out there, but I'm in the 40 plus group. So I kind of been around. So
Okay.
when you build relationships now, it's not built off authenticity. Like, quick example before you chime in, sister. My mom, my grandmom, and my great
Hmm.
grandmom, and my grandfather, and my dad, and my great great grandfather, they all had less than we do today, but they did a lot more. My grandmoms had less money, but fed more grandchildren. You see what I'm saying? My
Oh yeah.
grandfather had less money, but he was able to do more for his grandkids.
Right. It's how you manage. You follow me? And so I'm 70, so I'm 30 years older than you. So when
Right.
you said being alone, are you talking about living alone or just being alone in a relationship, meaning unmarried or connected with somebody?
Well, I'm talking like the combination because, okay, like I said, when you and you could speak to this more than me because you're older. And like when you came up, like, quick example, like, it's hard to be in relationships with people, not only being in something committed, but just like having a relationship with somebody based around music. I'm gonna use that real quick. So when you
Okay.
came up, you have heard Patti LaBelle, you have heard of Aretha Franklin, these people in their heyday, right? Now, nowadays, I can't say, well, Patti LaBelle was, she could sing just as good as Beyonce. That would turn into a heated argument. That shouldn't be an argument. Janet Jackson could sing just as good as Alicia Keys. That shouldn't be a heated argument where that person have animosity towards me, or it appears to be I have animosity towards them, and that would hinder a relationship moving forward, a relationship with your cousin, or a relationship with a coworker, or a relationship with your sister or your brother. It shouldn't be that way. Same thing with sports. It shouldn't be that way.
Well, people generally just want to be disagreeable, so I try not to get into a lot of discussions on preferences that I like, from politics to religion to music to even movie theaters. I'm a very private person, but I have always loved being alone. I like what you say, peace of mind. I like to sleep. I like it quiet. But some people who were raised in a big family where it was always noisy and the TV and the radio was always on, they really don't like that quiet stuff. They always have to be where it's noisy.
Okay, so you think that, okay, I understand what you're saying about big family, but you think that come from the psychological point where they're not there yet, where the peace of mind, and because for me it was always there when I was younger. However, my attitude wasn't the way it is today. I had to really find myself and work on my attitude, so it wouldn't be like I was upset or lashing out at others, but I always wanted that peace of mind. And that developed for me when I got incarcerated, and they put me in solitary confinement. I didn't want to be back around all the rest of the prisoners and the inmates. I found myself getting back in trouble again, so I can go
Yeah.
right back into the solitary confinement, and that kind of helped build the tendencies and habits to want to be alone.
Yeah, and and you're never alone if you got a connection with God. But yeah, it's like, everyone has this spirit in them, this demonic spirit that wants to come out and start stuff all the time, especially with guys, because you guys are always challenging each other, always, kind of challenging each other, you know what I mean? Um, so being alone is it's not a bad thing. It gives you an opportunity to study if you need to, do some deep thinking if you need to, sleep if you definitely need to, and you can come up with some real good ideas, that you have inside of you that you never thought you had. But when you're around all of this chaos and noise and everybody is offering their opinion on stuff, you never get to do any deep diving in your own self to bring out the stuff that, like I said, you never thought you had.
Yeah, so see how you pointed that out? That comes with growth. Now, in regards to guys challenging each other, some of it needs to be done, and another part of it is just ego and pride getting in the way.
Yeah, true.
See, some of it needs to be done for growth and maturation, so you can now see that man become the better version of himself. You're not challenging him as a man, you're challenging him to become more of a man. See, I'll go with challenging someone to be more of a man and not challenging him as a man.
When you spoke about incarcerate, look, I met a man one time. He said he did something dumb and end up in prison. And when he got in there, it was this older gentleman who was, the way he explained it, was drawing. I don't know, he was just, a brown paper bag. This man would just draw, and he was watching this guy do this, right? And the old man told him, say, you can do this too. And he didn't even, and he was like, what? And he gave him, like something to draw. It was a brown paper bag. And he said the first time he did it, it looked like something out of a kindergarten would do. But he kept at it and he kept at it until, you know what I mean? Like I say, it just brought out the artistic part of him he didn't even know he had. He never would have known that if of course, he got out, started a t-shirt shop, and did a whole bunch of stuff, but that's where he found it at.
Yeah, but see, that other brother, he challenged him to
Yeah,
become a better man instead of challenge. See, that's why when you said that, I said it depends, because when I was younger and I went through incarceration, I had grown men challenge me to become a better man. And they taught me about that. Like, this is how you stay away from people or other men looking to challenge you as a man. No, you want them to challenge you to become a better man. And in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, I really didn't see the difference in it. But as I matured, I'm like, I was starting to get it. And they would pull me to the side and they taught me how to analyze things, just pay attention to things. Everything is not worth me saying something or responding. And like I said, going through so much in my life, not allowing myself to separate myself from things in life. I just was always getting right back into something, right back into things after maybe I went through something with family or was in a relationship and just jumped back into another one. Not saying I didn't need to heal or I did need to heal, was just I wasn't thinking. I just rushed back into it. And I should have thought my way through the process first.
I read this book one time, and this man was trying to describe why some men fail. What he said was, you said you're 40, right? He said something that it really takes a man 40 years to really get it. And I'm like, get what? He was saying, because as a young man coming up, your sexuality or your whatever hormones or it's a distraction. You make a lot of mistakes because you have this. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And you
Yeah,
have to get
what you're
control.
saying is that, and I'm not cutting you off, but you asked something. You're saying that your body
Yeah,
may have developed and grown up, and your testosterones and your hormones and all that is kicking in, but
there you go.
mentally and spiritually you haven't matured yet. Like, a man mind doesn't start to develop till at least 25 and older.
That's right.
So his body may be there, but his mind is not. It started to develop once he get 25. So for me, the older I started to get, once I started to get 30, 32, it was just things didn't really mean that much to me no more. And
Hmm.
I started to conversate with other brothers and I would tell them, look, I'm only doing this actually just to get it out of my life and get it out of my system. I'm not doing this any longer because it's something that I need to fulfill. It's just something for me to get it over with so I don't have to come back to it any longer.
My brother and I was talking about age in black men. He's going to be 69. And I read somewhere that the average African American male, if they make it to 65 years old, that is a blessing. Why is that? Drugs, alcohol, like you said, going to jail, bad job, hurting your knee, your back. You follow what I'm saying? And then the hereditary trait of diabetic and high blood pressure and all of that. It's like, how many black men made it past 65?
Well, a few. I'm not gonna say a lot, a few. But see, everything you said is accurate. But also, what come with that is not having the correct mentality and preparation for it down the road. So you
Mm-hmm.
need someone now to see that, whether that's a family member, whether that's yourself, whether that's your spouse, you're somebody to take some of the pressure off of you to have to live up to a certain expectation. See, the thing is that as men, we are designed to carry the bulk of whatever that is,
Yes.
workload, family load, the stress load, whatever that is. And it's nothing wrong with that. However, like you said, when you take on extra now, when you're not eating good, you're
Yeah.
not getting enough rest, then you combat that with smoking or drinking, or your stress levels increase due to whatever's around you. And sometime, that has to be stripped away. You have to have people to say, you know what? We all love Uncle so and so, or cousin so and so, or our father, or our uncle, or our brother. But you know what? He going through a lot. Like, let's take some of the pressure off. And that, like I said, when you came up, it was different. Like, women knew their position and held their position up. See, it's kind of got reversed over the last 35, 40 years, where it's like a lot more dudes have to become more stronger and the
Yeah.
women have become more independent. Like when I was coming up, the women was kind of, you know, strong, and the men was able to be independent to go out there and do what they had to do to come back and bring all that independence back to the family now. Like, okay, I got this job, I got this, I'm gonna bring all that back. They wasn't independent from women, they was independent from society so they could bring everything back to the family.
Well, do you feel like a married man, talking about being alone, do you feel like a married man would live longer if he was married versus single?
Well, in your day and age, and maybe my mom, because you
Mhm.
close to like my mom age. So I could say somewhat. How come? Because the cycles of women wanting to be so independent, and they only become independent from men, not independent from society. See, men could become independent from society. They can do that. It's generally, it's kind of harder for women to do it. So nowadays it's virtually impossible.
Mhm.
Nowadays it's like virtually impossible because you have so much influence over women nowadays. Back then in your time, maybe you had maybe your mom and maybe like maybe your aunt or maybe your grandma, but however they would still push marriage, they would still push family, they would still
True.
push respect, they would still push the right and proper guidelines to be abide by, and they wouldn't overstep boundaries. Like, even if your husband was committing infidelities, it was nowhere for them to really go scream and yell about it. They would pull him to the side and pull you to the side and say, look,
Yeah.
you can't be doing that. Like, that's your family. You got to be there for your son. You got to be here for your daughter. That's your wife. She love you. Or vice versa. That's your husband. You got to honor that man. You got to honor your kids. You got to honor your family. You don't want to bring things from outside back home. That was like one of the golden rules, back then. You don't bring outside babies. You don't bring STs. You don't bring outside headaches back home. And majority time, if those three rules was followed, marriages lasted longer. Families stuck
Mhm.
together because you didn't bring those outside forces back home. But now, the slightest little thing is like,
Yeah.
I'm unhappy, and that is kind of like a personal. I'm unhappy. Like if you was unhappy, or my moms or my grandmoms, they learned how to work around what they was unhappy about. The husband didn't see that. Vice versa, the wife didn't see that if the husband was unhappy about something, or if he lost his job. He didn't put pressure on his wife to go out there and work. He said, "I understand I lost the job. I'm gonna go get another one. Give me,
Yeah.
give me a couple weeks, or give me a month." And the wife like, "All right, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna grant you that." Instead of, no, I'm independent. I could go out there and do what I want to do. And it's like only thing you're doing is rebelling against your family structure at the end of the day.
Well, with everything with the president, seems like you're trying to take everything going back. Do you feel like our community would come closer together as far as trying to work together and save more money and get closer to our children and teach our children and just, you know what I mean, be forced to, live together and make it happen until this is over?
Well, before we continue, I just want to say thanks for coming up and you asking the right questions. This is why we need our elders to be more active so they can do what you're doing. Ask the right questions, and then now we can build upon that. So let me answer that. So in reference to where we at, for me, I look at people, individuals, because a lot of times when I did isolate myself and say, okay, I'm a black man, for instance, right? And I
Mhm.
started to interact with my own people, I seen that I've got more injustice from my own people than other people. And the issue for that became, now I thought, or I was under the impression, or it seems to be, that we understood each other a little bit more better than other nationalities or other cultures. And when I
Mhm.
seen that, it wasn't like that. I was a little confused until I had to, reconcile. I was like, I got to focus on individuals. I got to look at behavior, because if I look at a culture or a nationality, I could hinder myself. So that made me look at that just a little different. Now, in regards to whoever's in control or has the power, the only way we're gonna be able to stick together now as a culture or as a unit, we got to listen to each other first and foremost. Secondly, we have to respect ourselves. So therefore, we don't have to put pressure on someone else to respect us.
True.
Secondly, we have to get back to morals and values. Like if
Yes,
you're
Lord.
okay, if you're my grandmother, right? And my grandma tell me, look, boy, you done had 3 kids. You gotta find somebody you gonna get with and marry somebody or stop having babies. I can't look at it like my grandma's outdated. She don't know what she's talking about. I
Yeah.
gotta, I gotta, I gotta get something together. I gotta look at that as constructive criticism and not hating or bad advice, or you don't know what you're talking about, or you make it seem like you didn't make
Yeah.
mistakes.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it ain't the end of the world, and a lot of this stuff can be reversed. A lot of it, to me, it doesn't seem to be taking an effect until 2026, possibly 2027. So it's like it's not like you don't have a heads up on what could possibly happen. So is people just ignoring what's going on and just saying, well, I'll cross that bridge when I get there?
So when you say what's going on in reference to,
Everything like the SNAP cut off, the medical, the housing, the
well, but
jobs,
see,
the
okay, see with that, okay, I'm gonna go to the SNAP, then we could get into the medical aspect of it. See, with the SNAP, I look at it just like this. Like I'm, like I said, 40 plus years old. From the time I could remember. So I'm gonna go
mm,
back 30 years. I was a teenager. I recall people living off this and turned it, it's supposed to have been a stopgap. Some people have turned it into a lifestyle and a way of living. Like they treated it like a 401k or a pension. And that's no disrespect or no knock on anyone. I'm just saying what I've noticed. That's what I'm saying. It's been people in my family that have used it for a stopgap, and there's some other people in my family that's still using it, and they've been using it when I was younger. So it's like, when do you look at yourself and say, you know what, that's good that that outlet is there, but I'm not gonna rely on it. I'm gonna just take advantage of it so I can better my circumstances and situation. Not okay. I know no matter what. For example, the government. I got this Section 8 for the next 25 years. I ain't worrying about trying to go out there and get a decent job. Working for transit or working for the post office or you know doing something that they know they can retire from. It's not too many people, definitely over the last 30 years or so, that's in a position where they can say, I'm about to retire from doing whatever they was doing from when they was in their
true.
20s. People got to understand when you quit that job or you get fired, you got to start that 401k process all over again. You got to start that all over. Now, your social security might be intact because you was working, okay, but we talking
You
about
right.
the retirement aspect of it though. The 401k, that ain't there because you either got fired or you quit or you decided to walk away. And some people have been getting arrested and locked up and they got felonies, so they can't even think about getting a job that they could say, okay, I came home, for example, I was 28 years old, I'm 30 years old. Now I could work for another 40 years. They might can't even see that far. But for the people who has already been in those situations, you gotta really say, okay, is this something I want to do so I could get on my own, or is this something I want to do so I could stay on my own? You got to start making, not you per se, but people got to start making decisions like that. And that now, no matter what the government says or does, it won't become catastrophic. It won't. It's becoming catastrophic because so many people are overwhelmed and consumed with what the government has to offer. And the government don't mind having to offer it. But how long can it offer it to everybody? It only should be for a handful of people. But it's turning out more and more people are needing or relying or dependent upon the government.
I did hair for 41 years, and a lot of times I would lose some of my customers because they will always have a relative that they love so much that will get in trouble and end up in prison. There was a book that says that the prison system wouldn't survive if it wasn't for the Black woman. Why is that? At that time that I read the book, it said that there were more African American men and women in prison than any other nationality. And the people that support those people were Black women, their daughter, their son, their niece, their nephew, their husband, going down there, putting money on the books, lawyer fees, wear and tear on the car with visitation. What do you think about that? And all of the money that's spent in the commissary comes out of the purse of the African American woman that cares. They claim that the African American man will go down maybe one time and visit that son or that daughter, but it's the woman that never gives up.
Well, I'm gonna answer that. I just want to get back into the second aspect. What I do when I do talk, I like to speak and then give the person, if somebody up here with me, a time to respond, or to let what I just said kind of settle in. So I just want to get to the second half of what you asked. Now, the medical aspect, again, we all need medical assistance, or we all need help
Yes,
with whatever we're going through medically. However, a lot of people that may be receiving Medicaid or Medicare or any type of health insurance, some of these people don't take full advantage of it. Meaning, somebody could have 3 kids, right? And they may only take their 3 kids to the doctor for that checkup, which ain't nothing wrong with that. But they're not totally honing in on, okay, if they got the dentist, like, let me take my kids to the dentist, to get these teeth removed, unless the kid is saying, my teeth hurt, or my gums hurt, or my gums are swollen, then they'll go. But you got to take advantage of it while it's there. Don't I understand that you don't want to run and just use it, but you want to take advantage of it while it's there. Also, another thing with the medical situation, with the health insurance, with that, a lot of older people do need it. However, a lot of the people now that's in those medical fields, unlike when you was younger, people took this serious. So the younger people that don't want to care and tend and fend for the older people that's in nursing homes, or the people with diseases, or people with disabilities, because it's like, okay, well, I don't feel like changing my patient, or I don't feel like you know walking my patients outside, or I don't feel like tending to fend. I'm tired of changing, IVs or whatever they don't want to do. So that doesn't help how maybe the powers that be or the government look at health care or health insurance or Medicaid or Medicare, because again, it's still people now, once you do have these things, that have to take care of the people after you have the surgery. You know what I mean? Or after
yeah,
whatever was wrong with you, they work on, or they attend to. Now you need somebody to actually follow through with it, when you go home, a home attendant, or if you're still in the hospital, nurses, and so on and so forth. And majority of those people now are women. So that's how come when certain things get cut, I don't just look at it like, well, they're cutting this to spite Black people. I'm looking at the totality of how long things been in place and what have been happening when these things been in place for 30, 40, even pushing half a century. How, like I said, when you came up, these things that was in place, people actually appreciated and took advantage of it for the betterment of them and their families, instead of just taking advantage of it because it's there. Like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna get on food stamps because it's there. You know what I mean? I'm applying for Section 8. Why I can't get a place to live and just sit around and do nothing? Because maybe they have seen someone older than them do that, not knowing the full context of how they got in that situation. Things was different when you was younger from when I was started to come up, and so on and so forth. So they may see you being able to have a business and be prosperous, but not knowing what you had to do to sustain that business, to keep that business, to not knowing how banks operated back then for you to get a business loan, and so on and so forth. So they just thinking, okay, my aunt had this business for this long. Why I just can't get a loan? Why I can't get a stipend? Why I can't get a grant? Not knowing you applied yourself, and after though you applied yourself, you kept going. You didn't let a divorce or kids or family members
Yes.
or something distracts you, you kept going.
Well, you right on that medical starting tomorrow, October the 1st. I don't know if you heard this, but the president is going to charge 100% taxes on pharmaceutical drugs. Did you hear about that? 100% taxes on, it's like my brother went to the doctor to get I went to CVS to get his prescription, and they gave him a whole year's supply of all of his medicine. My other brother, they normally give him a 2-week supply. They gave him a whole month supply. Me, they gave me a 90-day supply. It's like, what's going on? Now I see, starting October the 1st, this man is going to do all this. He feels like America should be making their own medication wherever our medicine has been coming from. And it's like, if you got that good insurance, the doctors are trying to get you, what I mean, try to get you stocked up.
Well, I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna before you was nice enough and considerate enough, and you've been asking some terrific questions. I want to get into and if I forget, please remind me what you just asked me. You brought up incarceration. See, with that, again, like
Hmm.
you said majority of women feed into that by going to these prisons and these jails and having to fund these brothers' accounts, right? So
That's right.
with that, right? A lot of men and women, and myself included in that at one juncture in my life, I was taking women through a lot of unnecessary problems. Vice versa, women have taken me through unnecessary problems. However,
Yeah.
what we got to start learning is though we have to start disciplining ourselves and holding ourselves accountable. It's like no matter what I've done, I'm gonna
Yeah.
hold myself accountable, but I'm gonna need now the parties or the people that's involved with it with me to do the same, not to do it to say I was right and they was wrong, or they was right and I was wrong. No, it's so now we can reflect. We can look at the things that we know better than now and now allow that to happen, not only to us moving forward, people that's looking up at us and say, okay, well, my aunt been through that, or my father been through that, or my grandma's been through that, or my sister been through that. Nah, that ain't gonna work out for nobody. Instead of you can't tell me, you don't know how my life is set up, or you can't tell me what to do. Nobody's not telling you what to do. They're giving you instruction. So
Hmm.
therefore, now when you follow instructions, majority of the times you're gonna get it right. But when you don't follow instructions, or there's no guidelines, or there's no structure and stability, it's gonna end up in chaos. So that's how come a lot of people end up getting incarcerated or keep going back and forth to jail. The thing with me, how I stopped getting incarcerated, because for one, the solitude confinement helped me out. For two, I had real grown men, not OGs, no, grown men pull me
Uh-huh.
to the side and made me read and made me study and made me
Wow.
listen. And they didn't make me study, read, and listen far as from a violent or disciplinary perspective. They did it from a psychological perspective. Like one of the older brothers, he seen me one day argue over the telephone, right? And he
Yeah.
said, "Come here." He said, "Let me talk to you, young man." And I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" See, he like, "Look, let me talk to you." Like, yo, I see something you don't see in yourself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not the first person that told me that. He was like, "Look, what I need you to do for me one day, just come back here and sit with me and just pay attention to everything." When he first told me that, I didn't do it.
Wow.
I didn't
You
do it.
did
Then
not
I
do
went
it.
through something. I went through something again, right?
Hmm.
Then I went back there. I was frustrated, but when I went back there, it was like, ain't no need to be frustrated. Just sit back and open your mind and close your mouth. And I was powerful. So I did that. He said, don't say nothing to me. Don't say to nobody. Just open your mind and just look. He said, if you don't do nothing else while you in this place, just look around. Stop talking.
That's
Just look.
right.
And I sat back after that day and just used to analyze. And I seen people getting stabbed, cut, and they was fighting over
Lord have
something
mercy.
that wasn't theirs, that they couldn't control. But like we talked about maybe 10, 15 minutes ago with that testosterone, with that Are they bringing the best out of you, or are they just
Uh-huh.
challenging you? So what? See, I had to learn
Yes.
the difference. When I was going back and forth with them dudes, we was challenging each other. But when I got with real grown men, they challenged me to become a better man.
Okay.
So now I had to sit back and analyze things in the jail. And now, when the captain or when the squad would come and they would take everybody's things, their commissary at times, or things, you know how they come and you locked up and they'll just start taking stuff from the inmates. After a while, when the captains and the wardens and the people who ran the jail seen me wasn't caught up no more, they whispered to me,
Yeah.
"I ain't gonna take this. Just go back to your cell. Don't say nothing." And I'm like, oh, so
Aw.
they was even seeing that my attitude and my body language and my ways was
Change.
shifting and changing. So now they had to deal with me accordingly based off that. And now I had to look at, they wasn't looking at me like a black person. They were just looking at me like an inmate who was trying to now do what he had to do to get up out of there. Instead of me being in there, turning it into somewhere that I planned on coming back to because I'm clinging to things, the telephone, the TV. That I should be worried about that. I should be reading books. I should be praying. I should
Okay.
be studying. I
Yes.
should be analyzing. But what I'm doing, I'm fighting. I'm going back and forth, arguing over the TV, the phone, arguing over things that is irrelevant, don't mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, in reference to what you asked about the incarceration, that's why it's a perpetual cycle. And then sometime you get older men that come home and they haven't learned anything. So now they instill that energy, not instill it personally, but they instill the energy. I said, yeah, I was locked up north. Man, I did 10 years. That's nothing. I was up there. I was stabbing. I was fighting. I was this. I was that. And they'll install the energy and the energy from a younger person like, hey, well, they did it. I could do it. Or they'll put
Mm.
other energy out there. Like I'm saying, if I do get locked back up, I'm going to make sure I'm going to get locked up for something. They ain't going to want to let me go. When you really got logic, that's not something that you want to repeat, or that's not something you want somebody to think or believe that they should aspire to accept, to say, okay, yeah, if I got locked up, hypothetically speaking, for beating the fear, the next time I'm gonna come in here for robbing the bank. Okay, I'm in here for robbing the bank. Next time I'm gonna be in here for unaliving somebody. You shouldn't take that perspective. The perspective should be, they ain't gonna see me in here no more. That's the
Do you
perspective you should take. And when you take that perspective, you get called out. When you take the perspective of, I'm increase the peace, I don't want no problems. See, insecurity is a big problem with a lot of people. I don't just say black people or white people, with people. People are so insecure. So when you're looking to do the right thing or you're looking to do something to uplift yourself, you think you're better than people. No, I'm just better than who I was yesterday. I'm not better than anyone on the planet Earth. I'm just better than who I used to be. See,
I know
when
you have
people
your
develop, go ahead, go
I,
ahead.
I know you have your educated white collar crime, but I mean, would you say a lot of folks that end up locked up is due to untreated mental illness or just plain uneducated, don't even have a high school diploma?
Well, okay. See, when you say educated, it's various different types of form of education. Like I I didn't get my high school diploma. However, I had to self-educate. Like I went to
Right.
school, right? When I was going to school, a teacher told me that if you're not going to listen, you're going to disrupt the class, you better find a way to educate yourself. And I took that literally and logically. I started to really hone in and do that. And then when I got locked up, that helped
Uh-huh.
more because it was like,
Yes.
even if I didn't want to listen and learn when I was out amongst
Right.
society, when I got incarcerated, I'm like, man, I'm going to read these books. Man, because when I was going to school, they was giving out citywide tests at second grade. I don't know if they still do that now, but you had to take as a second grader, you had to take a city-wide test. So that means whatever your school district was, they was
That's
grading
right.
second graders. And that to me says a lot about the education system.
Hmm.
However, when you say education, people can have education, but that don't mean they have emotional intelligence. Because you can have a degree and you like, okay, well, I got my degree. Some people still physically end up doing something to someone, and now they facing incarceration, and they got a bachelor's or master's.
Yeah.
And it's like, so emotional intelligence, like it's certain things that they do teach in school that you only could gain from experience in life though. So school can't teach you how to control yourself. You have to learn that emotional intelligence, how to control your emotions. School can't teach you that. Unfortunately, school
Well,
can't teach
again, if
you
you come from a
banking.
family of, I mean, it's like everybody done been to jail if you go back three generation, a generational curse. What do you think
Right.
about that?
Well, okay. Well, let me get into you. You said something. Remember that question. What was the other question you asked me about? You asked me about. I think it was medication or something. You were saying he gonna do, or he's starting
I was saying
something.
as of October 1st, which is
Okay.
tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Trump is going to charge, imported pharmaceutical drugs 100% taxes, which is automatically going to jack the prices of medication up. I've been telling everybody, hey, you know what? You need to go to Family Dollar and just stock up all of those over the counter medicine because it's going to be real hard to find simple stuff like alcohol, cotton ball, band-aid. You know what I'm saying? Just Alka-Seltzer, Pepto-Bismol, which stuff that you can doctor on yourself, cold medicine, flu, sinus medicine, because it's just they're gonna just raise the price up so high, just like when COVID came. You could even get a bottle of alcohol for $8. I mean, I'm just saying,
No,
Clorox for
no,
nine and
I get it. I get the logistics of where you're going. See, again, that all goes back to like when you came up and your mom and your grandmom, they had
yeah,
skills. They had survival skills. See,
that's
that's
it.
something that's missing. Survive, like it would be a blessing for my grandfather to take me, my cousins, the rest of his grandkids hunting. Teach us how
Yeah.
to build a cabin. Teach us how to
Hmm.
build a raft. You know why all that's important? So when things like this happen, now
Yes.
we could hone in on our survival skills. I'm not saying what he's doing is right or wrong. I'm saying when you hone in on other things, when something catastrophic take effect, it won't affect you as deeply as it affects others that don't have those skills, the basic necessity skills that you may need though. Because when COVID hit, a lot of people didn't have basic
Ah,
survival skills.
you're
So
right.
now, how you talking about alcohol and Q-tips and cotton balls and things that just simple things, peroxide, simple band-aids, simple things. It seems like it's a lot because people don't have those basic survival skills. Like I said, in your day and before you, people had those survival skills. Like my grandma was telling me how, and rest her soul, how women was with other women and they was there in the household with them and they was having birth in houses and it wasn't really doctors around like that. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
wasn't doctors at all, but it wasn't doctors that was able to make it all the time. They wasn't able to make it to the hospital or emergency room. And it was a woman or a man at the home and they gave birth to that baby and that baby came out to be healthy.
Yeah, midwives. You're right. Absolutely.
And my point is, sister, is that the survival skills was there. And another thing
Yeah.
about the survival skills, though, in your generation now, it was accepted. Like if your mom or your grandmom taught you that, you didn't roll your eyes to it, you didn't suck your teeth to it. You accepted it, you embraced it. Now, if you want to do that to this generation and the next one coming, they're gonna suck their teeth, they're gonna roll their eyes because of how things are. Well, all I gotta do is dial 911, the ambulance gonna come pick me up. And it's like
Yeah.
it's not that the ambulance won't come pick you up, but you have to have an alternative. That's the
Yes.
issue. See, y'all had alternatives and exercised them. Nowadays, people not exercising alternatives because they're not working on them.
Right.
So those survival skills that you guys had inherited means a lot.
Yes, it does.
So when you talk about him cutting things, again, I'm not for it or I'm not against it. I'm saying with survival skills, though, it wouldn't, on a large scale, it wouldn't affect that many people because people have, like you said, midwives, somebody that was studying law, somebody
Hmm.
that was studying medicine, somebody that was studying psychology. So even if I say, okay, you know what? I didn't get my degree in medicine, but I know something about medicine. Okay, this is
Exactly.
what you take if you got a headache. This is what you take if you got a stomach ache.
Yes.
This is and I understand that I'm not a certified physician with the paperwork, but I still read enough books that my family or my loved ones would respect and trust in. I wouldn't give them inaccurate information. And also I will follow up on the information that I already know. I will keep reading those books. I will read more books. And then I will have a family member or a loved one come say, you know what, you've been reading this about Tylenol. Here, read this about liquid medication. Read this about this. Read, and they would bring me more books. That happened in your generation and before your generation. They educated themselves. So that helped when catastrophic situations took place. They
Yeah,
educated themselves.
absolutely. Well, I tell you, people need to really, get to working on their health, their mental health, their physical health. You're not gonna can't even afford to get sick at this point with all of these small clinics being shut down and nurses getting laid off. And oh my goodness, it's a lot. I think a lot of people will suffer and die just lack of information or just don't believe. Um, just small things could really keep you comfortable and from one thing leading to something worse. Um, if you have it, if have some of
See,
these
well,
things at home, a first aid kit at home.
right, right. But again, even when having these things, like I said, I I have to keep honing in on this. Your time and before your time and the time before that, all this was important. Like even we can go to little things. Okay, I'm gonna go to little things like TV and TV programming. Look, back when I was coming up, I was a kid, right? Even if I didn't want to, but when I decided to pay attention,
Yeah,
look at Good Times. James was able to be around. Florida was able to do her part. You know what I mean? Like I look at all that. Look at the Jeffersons. George was doing what he was doing. Weezy was doing what she was doing. They raised Lionel. No matter how much Mother Jefferson took her shots at Louise, she still let Mother Jefferson know this my husband, this my house, this my situation. You're always welcome, but I got this. This is why your son is with me. I got it. I'm thankful, but I got it. And that didn't deter her to not want to be with George. That didn't deter George to not want to be with her. That didn't stop Mother Jefferson from being Lionel's grandmother. My point is that people was more stronger. That's why I said they did a lot more with a lot less. Nowadays, people have more and they get less done. People are not as strong as their ancestors were. People not as strong as their forefathers were. And that's not a shot at me or generations to come. That's just the reality of the situation. People have to get more mentally stronger. See, people think they're strong because they survive things physically. It's time to get back to the mental and the psychological and the spiritual aspect of the strength. Because in your generation and before, people was a lot more spiritually stronger. Their spirit
yeah.
could endure a lot more.
Absolutely. Well, I got all that I know from my mom, and my mom would tell me, listen, everything I'm teaching you, I got it from my mother, and she got it from her mother. So you're getting three generations of information. And I've taught this to my kids, and so they're like me. I mean, they're young, but their mindset and they take heed to everything I'm saying, and you follow what I'm saying? So
Yes,
um,
I'm with you 1 billion%. All I'm telling you is in a microcosm about what you asked, and I'm gonna answer the other questions. Is that again, when it was passed down to you, you didn't roll your eyes or suck your teeth. See, that's the key ingredient to this. That's the
yeah.
key ingredient. You embraced it. That's the thing. You embraced what was said. That's why for me, when I did ignore things that my dad or my mom or my grandma
Oh.
I went back and apologized to them, like I wasn't in my right state of mind. I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't listening. Thanks though for instilling that information you instilled in me. Thanks for passing these morals and values down. When I did get my head on my shoulders, when I was thinking in my right state of mind, I went back to those particular family members and thanked them for that, because they didn't have to sit with me. They didn't have to coach me. They didn't have to walk with me. It's like, despite my mom and my dad relationship, I wanted my dad to be in my life. So I made the commitment to still be around that man. I understand him and my mom's probably wasn't seeing eye to eye. That have nothing to do with me. I
Yeah.
still wanted to be in his life. So I made it my business to have a relationship with my dad. See, that's because what you just said, family members told me, like, that's still your father. I understand he ain't around. I understand whatever him and your mom's going through. You can still go see your father. You can still be around your father. And nowadays, that conversation will go like that. I don't need no man. I don't need my baby moms. She can't tell me. He can't. So now that not only causes friction and tension, it causes separation, and that confuses somebody that's impressionable. So now they're confused. They believe it's Democrat, Republican, my mom or my dad. Like who? And now you can't. You should be able to choose both. You can't. Why? Because now that you have to separate and segregate and choose your mom or your dad, somebody gets left out, and now that innocent mind get confused and get brainwashed and get hurt. And now they grow up with what you just said, with that mental anguish, with the trauma, and everything now becomes animosity and hatred. They hate themselves because, like, well, but why my family don't love me, or why my moms don't love me, or why my dad don't love me, or why my grandmoms can't get along with my dad, or why my grandfather can't get along with my mom. So now it becomes catastrophic, and
Hmm.
nobody wants to talk no more. It's like I got to show how bad I am. I got to show how rough and tough I am. Like I said, in your day and before your time, mentally and spiritually, that's how they showed the world or other people how tough and strong they was, mentally and spiritually. Not physically. No, they didn't do that. They did it mentally and they did it spiritually.
Well, sir, I wrote 3 books. They're in manuscript form, and I know you've written several. If you haven't, you need to get busy.
Well, I mean, I would love to have somebody like yourself teach me the steps. See, one thing about me, I love to learn and I love to be taught.
And it's very simple. You just get a notebook and write 1 page at a time. How far you want to go back? Do you want to go back to your high school days?
No, no.
Your
See, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, like, I like to talk to people in your age group and older. Like I like to speak to a lot of older people because you guys have knowledge and you guys have wisdom and intellect. And not only that, see, you guys done live. So now I want to learn how to live. I've been learning how to do a lot of things, but I need to learn how to live instead of instead of just living. I want to learn how to do it because
Yeah, you just get a
I'm still
notebook
in the
and
process
start
of learning.
writing. Yeah, you just get a notebook and start writing 1 page a day. And me, I don't have a good memory for back in the, so I started as a business person. I started writing right there. See, you kind of know where you want to, once you get that notebook and pen, you kind of know where you want to start because it goes back as, what you want to talk about. But yeah, if you just want to start from your junior high, you just start writing 1 page a day. If you want to do it on family, do it on family. If you just want to do it on feelings, that's up to you. But
No,
you should get, hmm?
I just want to do it based upon, so people coming right now and a little bit after that can get back to spiritual and psychological strength. Because again, as a kid, born in the 70s and then growing up in the 80s, I
Yeah,
seen it. Like I literally and logically seen it though. Like
yeah.
I seen the drug dealers or the people that was out there breaking the law. They
Wow.
would put hands on my generation for not going to school, for not listening to our mom, for staying out late. And I know they was out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing, but they still be like, "You're shorty, go to school. Shorty, listen to your moms. Nah, help that old lady with her bag. Nah, help that old man get across the street. And they wasn't doing things they shouldn't have been doing, but they still emphasized that. And they would say, don't do what I'm doing. I shouldn't even be doing this. I got to find a better way than something besides what I'm doing. It's not like that nowadays. It's approved. Like, here, go do this, go do that. Like, it shouldn't be that way.
So what you're saying is you had a lot of people to stop you and tell you, but you just was going left. It wasn't like you just didn't have the advice, the recommendation. You just went left.
And that happened because, again, being around people now, be letting people influence me to not follow the right rules and regulations.
Okay. Peer
And then
pressure. I
now
got you. Hmm.
now that I'm out there, I can't make it seem like my moms don't love me, or my dad don't love me, or my grandmoms, or my grandfather, or my aunts, or whatever. No, it was me like, all right, you know what? I don't want to listen. I don't want to go to school. And now that I don't want to go to school, okay, I got to find a way to get the things that I think I want, even though I really don't need these things. So now that make me sell drugs. That make me run the street. Nobody
Yeah.
made me run the street. My moms didn't make me not listen to her. I decided to do that. That's why I say on my podcast and on my show, it's my fault how things
Yeah.
turned out. That's why, see, a lot of things going on now, people don't want to hold themselves accountable for bad decision making.
Yeah.
People make bad decisions. It's the government. It's the white man. It's my
Yeah.
girl. It's my baby daddy. It's my father. It's the system. It's somebody else. Like, but hold on. But so you saying with all that, you ain't make no bad decisions yourself?
The fact that you were raised with a father and a mother and not in foster care, I only had my mom. My father was not in the household. I mean, it's rare that, most guys have both parents coming up.
No, I'm not saying. No, I'm not saying my dad was always around. No, he was around a little bit. Then whatever
But you
happened
knew
between
who
him
he
and my mom.
was. But you knew
Yeah,
who he
no,
was.
somewhat he was. All I'm saying is,
Okay.
though, I still made it my business to have a relationship with my dad. That's all I'm saying. Like, I didn't give up because my mom and my dad wasn't around each other as I started to get older. When I was little, yes, but as I started to get older, no. But again, I still didn't limit my dad because, like, okay, let's just say when I was starting to go around my father, he had financial struggles and he had living struggles, but that didn't limit me. I didn't judge him based off that. I just wanted to be around the man. I didn't say, you know what, my father can't buy me sneakers, so I don't love him no more. Or my father can't feed me, I don't want to be around him. I still wanted to be around him. I'm saying nowadays, that's really more of the issue. It's like a financial situation, more of a structure and a stability perspective. So now when you don't have that structure and stability, and you feel like, okay, I got the money. Okay, so you need structure and stability though. That's what's
Question. Do
lacking.
you have do you have a picture of yourself and your dad together today?
Uh, I mean, I have a one, when he wasn't feeling too well, but I have a couple. I don't have that many.
At least you have. Yeah. See, I
Yeah, I
don't
have.
even have. Yeah. So, right.
Yeah, but see, again, it could be various different reasons. Like, all I'm saying about that whole father and mother dynamic is that in your time and before, it wasn't just your father or the mother wasn't around due because the father didn't care or the mother, or it was validated reasons, and those reasons was respected by family members and other
Yeah.
people and generations to come. It wasn't just, okay, he ain't around, he don't love his kid. Nowadays, you ain't around because you don't love your kid, or you ain't around and you never love nobody, or you ain't around and it's now a name calling thing. It's a guilt thing. It shouldn't be like that, because when they got together, it wasn't no stipulation based off how long they was going to be together. It's like, okay, they was cared about each other to a certain degree. Now they don't. Okay, but that don't mean that that person, that man, don't love his kid, and that don't mean that that mother don't love her kid. But see, now all that energy is put out there like that nowadays. It's about money. It's not about loving the kid. The kid is used as a pawn or a budget. It's not used as a human being. It's not a human being any longer. It's a budget or it's a pawn. That's that. And that's why things are the way they are. Because when you don't have the mentality and the mind frame to understand that this kid has to grow up to become a man or a woman at one point in life. And even if you despise that person, my mom's didn't get along with my dad, but she never said nothing negative. Vice versa, my dad never said nothing negative about my mom's. They just wasn't together for whatever reasons. And I'm pushing 50 years old, and that's still not my business. That's not my concern. I'm not worried about that. That's not my business. That's my mom and my dad business. My mom's did the best she could do with what she had. My dad did the best he could do with what he had. Point blank, period. I don't look at it like, well, of course, as a kid, I wanted more. I was looking for more, but I'm not mad at it. I don't resent my mom. I don't resent my dad. I love them equally. However, I love them differently though, because they brought different elements to my life.
Well, let me say this on a different note. With all of the layoffs, both, I mean, people are not going to be able to pay their child support, and people are going to get behind in their child support, not to mention other bills, kind of like the COVID thing that happened 5 years ago. And, people want to file, against you, knowing that, everybody is suffering in that area right there. But what do you think about that?
Okay, so you said child support, or what else you said?
Yeah, the fact that, child support is going to be stopped for a lot of people who are not able to work because they got fired from their jobs, both male and female.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, with child support, I mean, for me, it's a big business. It's not about the child. So it's like, okay, like it's already put in place for for men to be disciplined. It's not put in place for discipline. It's put in place for men to be disciplined in this regard. Okay, do what we want you to do, abide by the double standard that's put in place. It's not to be put in place literally for that child to benefit from, because if it was all about the child, for the men that's not working. See how you talking about these layoffs? The government now, not the mom for a minute. The government
Uh-huh.
would make sure those men stay working. They would make sure it don't matter if they got felonies, whatever their situation is, they would make sure those men be working so that child support could be paid. Also, so that man could keep his mental health and his sanity in place, because he know now he gonna have somewhere to work, he gonna have somewhere to stay, he gonna have a way to take care of himself. See, the difference is though between men and women when it comes to the layoffs, some women, not all, some women have been able to fall back on the government and or fall back on HRA or welfare or agencies through the government to get help. Men haven't been able to do that. So when you're a man and you can't provide, let alone for your family, for yourself, it causes mental health problems. It causes pain and anguish
Oh,
now,
yes.
because now as a man you're designed to do that. It's not that it's a personal thing against women. You're designed to do it. It's your biochemical makeup to be out there to go get something and bring back, to be a provider. So if you're not providing as a man, now it plays on your psyche, on your mental health, because you can't
Yes.
do what you was ordained to do. And nowadays 85 to 90% of the women don't either respect that, get that, or care about it. So that causes more problems now. And why it causes more problems? Because it don't matter. I could go get welfare. It don't matter. He gonna be placed on child support, and he's not placed on child support for him to do better or for him to do better for his kid. It's for the government actually to separate the home and for the government to be paid back whatever they're doling out to pay those bills of the women and the children that they're providing these homes, EBT, Medicaid, and so forth and so on.
Yeah. Well, I have enjoyed this conversation. I hope to see you again and come up with talk with you again.
Oh no, it's a blessing. It's a pleasure. I'm so humbled, and it's gratifying. Again, you're an elder. So it's appreciated that you bring your knowledge, your wisdom, and your tutelage. Also, let me say this to you before you go. This is very
Okay.
important. Another thing about the elders that is lacking that we also need outside of what I said, the mental and the spiritual, mental and spiritual that y'all brought, as far as the intelligence go and the strength go,
Yeah.
patience and tolerance. Y'all was able to deal with a lot more. Y'all had a
Yes.
lot more patience and tolerance to 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 keep the household running, to keep the everything functioning. Like when the men was out doing whatever they was doing, the women didn't have a problem with cooking for 3 or 4 or 5 kids, with cleaning up the household, with washing the clothes, with bringing that structure and stability that the men would need when they got back from working or when they got back from out doing the labor jobs or whatever it was. It wasn't an issue. It was like, all right, yeah, I know when I get home, I'm gonna have me a nice meal prepared. If clothes got to be washed, I know that's taken care of. And now she was anticipating them coming in to hear eyes they would. He was anticipating getting around her so he could have that peace of mind. It's not like that nowadays because patience is not there, tolerance is not there. It's a
Mm.
lot of I could do this on my own mentality.
Yeah.
So that's why for you to be an elder, we need you around. We got to keep the elders around. We got to keep y'all, first of all, we got to keep y'all spirits high. Secondly, we got to keep y'all mental health clear. Because the more happier y'all are, and the more y'all spirits is clear, and y'all mind is clear, and y'all mental is clear, the more y'all can give us what we need, that tutelage, that guidance, that preparation. And last but not least, the most important thing that y'all had, y'all was devoted and y'all was dedicated to whatever it was. Y'all marriage, y'all family, y'all belief in the Lord, or whatever y'all religious faith was, y'all was devoted to that and y'all was devoted to that. And that's important. And that's what's missing. Nobody's dedicated to anything any longer. And the things that they dedicated to don't have substance no more. It don't have value any longer. Music don't have substance no more. It don't have value any longer. Movies don't have substance, don't have value any longer. TV shows. That's why I brought up Jefferson's, Good Times. That's why I brought up those type of shows because look, family orientated, structure, stability. The woman allowed the man to be the man allowed the woman to be the woman. So if Florida said y'all kids going to bed at 10 o'clock, James emphasized on that. If Weezy said,
Yeah.
Lionel, this is not good for the baby, George emphasized on that. Vice versa. If James said, look, JJ, look, Michael, y'all gonna go to school. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. Florida didn't undermine him and say, Michael, don't worry about it. You ain't got to go to school tomorrow. JJ, don't listen to your father.
Yeah.
He ain't nobody. You got to understand. If the men didn't get undermined and women didn't mind not undermining them, though. They respected what was said and it was left alone.
Yeah.
It was left
Absolutely.
alone. It was respected. That's what's missing. We have to get back to that. That's why we need people like yourself. That's why we need
Oh,
people,
thank
the
you.
elders, to emphasize on things.
Well, next time I come up here, I'd like to talk with you about senior citizens and cannabis. I don't smoke, drink, or any of that, but
Bless your
that's
heart.
some, yeah, it seems like some of these senior citizens is trying to smoke and drink on top of this medication. Are they crazy? But
No,
anyway,
it's no. See, okay, I know you got to go, but see, you brought up something. But look, listen, no, it's not that. See, what you got to understand is they're going through so much now. Like
you're right.
it was a point in your life when you was coming up, your grandmother was able to notice what I'm saying, grand in front of mother. She was able to be grand and then
Yeah.
still be a mother. So she was able to be a mother to your mom and then now help your moms supervise you and raise you without a problem, though, from the government or from society or from anything or anybody else, other family members, her husband, her man, her spouse. People allowed her to be who she was. Same thing with a grandfather. Grand is in front of father for a reason. Because that comes with wisdom, knowledge, integrity, dignity, honor. It's none of that no more. So the older people that's smoking and drinking, they don't see honor any longer. They don't see dignity any
Aw.
longer. They don't see that. So you got to understand, if you're an older person and you was in a rehabilitation center, that nurse or that person, that caretaker, they're not taking care of you no more.
Mm, mm, mm.
They're not making sure you get your medication on time no more. They're not making sure you get, that bath when you're supposed to get it. They're not making sure, you whatever your diet is. They're not making sure that food is prepared uh appropriately or nothing like that. They ain't sweating that. If they like, look, this is your patient. You gotta take care of them for the next 3 years, and they can't have no fried foods. They gotta have collard greens.
Right.
They gotta have baked chicken. They gotta have
Yes.
salmon. They ain't gonna follow the rules and regulations. They got that job for the money. They didn't get that job to take care of that patient.
Aw.
So that's why a lot of the elders are smoking and drinking. It's like, and then not only that,
Wow.
they also doing it is because how society has things in place to have a lot of older people feeling like they're left out. Like a
Mm.
lot of older people haven't embraced getting older and being older. See, I'm embracing that. So by the time I start to get, God willing, if I can make it to be 60 and 70 years old, I'm appreciate it. I'm not going to still be worrying about social media and things like that, unless it's from a business perspective. But just to be
Exactly.
worried about it, I'm not worried about it. See, a lot of older people still want to fit in because they're
That's what
being
it is.
neglected. They're
Yes.
being neglected by, like I said, if they got to deal with nurses and doctors, and then their grandkids or their kids is neglecting them because their kids is out chasing whatever they're chasing. Their grandkids is like, look, grandma, let's be on TikTok. Look, grandpa, let's get on Instagram. And grandpa like, yeah, let's get on Instagram. Grandma like, yeah, I would get on TikTok. So grandma like, you know what? Damn, my daughter got a bed. My granddaughter got a bed. Let me go get one. Grandpa like, yeah, yo, you
Oh
know what?
my
My son,
God.
my son got a girl. My grandson got a girl. Let me go get one. Instead
Mm,
of like, you
mm,
know
mm.
what? This is what you need to look out for, son. This is what you need to be prepared for, grandson. I don't need no women that had enough. You know what? Grandma that had enough men. I'm good. I'm read the word and stay devoted to God. So it's like, grandma, what you be doing? Grandma, what you be into? So now it'll make them like, nah, my grandma stay in the Bible. Or you know what, my grandma stay making healthy food. Or you know what, my grandma stay having a good peace of mind. But if they, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, if they don't see that and they don't sense it, and and it's not only that, if they only see their grandmother doing it, they're gonna think she or their grandfather doing it, they're gonna think their grandmother and their grandfather is outdated. But if they see an aunt that's older like their grandmother, or their grandfather, or uncle that's older like their grandfather doing it, now it's so many people doing it, so they don't feel outdated.
Mm, mm, mm.
And another thing you guys done back in your time, y'all didn't compromise.
I
See,
know that's right.
my grandmoms didn't compromise.
No.
My grandmoms will put hands on me and all my cousins
Okay.
and won't lose a lick of sleep, and then tell my mom, yeah, I did it. Them children weren't listening. I told
Oh,
them
you
children don't run in and out. I told them children to stay out my refrigerator. They gonna be here. They gonna listen to what I said. And I didn't resent my grandmoms. I still love my grandmoms, regardless if she put hands on me or not. But the point was, she was stern. She was strict, and she meant it. Nowadays, people not like that no more. It's like because it's so much things put in place. Like I said, the structure, stability, and the strength was there. That's not there any longer. My grandmas could whoop my tail, and nobody was thinking about calling BCW on my grandmother. It was like, so what? He wasn't listening. Now
that's
your kid
right.
or your grandkid ain't listening. We gonna say yes.
Oh God.
We gonna
You
go ahead and
are
say
a
yes. These kids
smart
ain't listening.
man. Thank you for sharing your platform tonight.
Nah, I'm more appreciative of you coming up here because typically when I do this, it be people in my age group or a little younger. And there's no problem with nobody in my age group or younger. However, when somebody like you, first of all, that's older, you're going to ask the right questions. And then your presence and your impact is going to be felt because now somebody's older, you've seen way more. So, like I said, I'm gonna say these last things to you. You actually seen Tina Turner. You actually seen Patti LaBelle. You actually seen Aretha Franklin. You actually probably seen her, Sam Cooke, James Brown, all these people in their heyday. So if I tell you, yo, Chris Brown, You're not disrespecting when you say, honey child, I done seen James Brown. I done heard Sam Cooke. But nowadays, you disrespectful when you say that. You're mad at Chris Brown. You're hating on Rihanna. You're hating on Beyonce. And that's not the
Oh my
case.
God. Uh-huh.
That's not the case. The case is we have great people in every lifetime. Every 10 or 20 years or so, somebody comes along great. Like I would never argue with my father and my grandfather, my uncle and them about basketball. They'll tell me Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was great. Conversation's over. I'm not gonna say, but he's not better than Shaquille O'Neal. Now we arguing. Now I'm mad at my uncle. Now I'm mad at my grandfather. My grandmother said, you know what? Your uncle and them done seen Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Boy, I done seen Bill Russell. And it's like now my grandfather arguing, my father arguing, and I'm arguing. Ain't no need for that. Ain't no need for that. We got great people every 20,
We
30 years or so.
do.
That's just what life is
Yes.
about. That's it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what life is about. The things you seen and did, we gotta listen. You actually seen it. Like it's different. You actually lived it. You was
Yeah.
around when Martin Luther King was saying what he was saying. Malcolm X was saying what he was saying. That's not taking nothing away from Minister Farrakhan at all.
Right, right.
But if you tell me, honey child, Malcolm X did this, Martin Luther King did this, oh, she don't know what she talking about. She mad at Farrakhan. You're not mad at Farrakhan at all. You're not
Oh,
mad at
God bless him.
Farrakhan at
He is
all. You
still
don't have no
here
problem with
looking.
Farrakhan. But it come
Yeah.
across that way because, like you said, that emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm.
be emotionally intelligent. You got to be spiritually connected. Your soul and your spirit got to be connected so you get the information when it
Yes.
comes to you. Like your generation would say, look, y'all kids sit down. Y'all need to get some nutrition in your life. Good
Yeah.
food, cooked meals. You can't keep getting McDonald's and KFC and fast food every day. No, you're gonna sit down and have some rice. You're gonna sit down and have some black eyed peas. You're gonna sit down and have this. You're gonna sit down and have that. It was no problem for your generation and before that to cook meals. It was nothing. It was nothing. I understand that the economy and money was different. I get it. In my day, $100 ain't as much as it was in your day. But the point was, y'all made it work with $2. That's the
I
point. You
know
made
you
it
right.
work.
Oh.
That's the point. You
Oh
made it
God.
work. So
You
they're
better
not
know
making
it.
it work, sister. That's the issue. They're not
Mm-hmm.
making it work. They're not putting enough energy and emphasis into it and on it. That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
So you seen, like I said, you could tell me about Gladys Knight and her day, Diana Ross. You seen these people, but again, when you say that, oh, she mad at Beyonce. How she gonna hate on Beyonce? It's not about that. It's about every so often we get great people and we like to challenge each other, and all we really doing is diminishing other people. When you talking about uplifting a community, uplifting people, you uplift everything and everybody. The flowers can't grow if you ain't giving water to all of them. I need to know about Diana Ross so I could tell my kids. I need to know
Yeah.
about Gladys Knight so I could tell my kids. I need to know about Sam Cooke so I could tell my kids. But
Absolutely.
if we think our generation is the only one that sing or that play basketball or that play football or that rap or that cook or that sew or that whatever it is, then we depriving the next generation. So we need you guys to be around to tell us those stories, to tell us what things was like. I remember when JFK was the president. I remember Nixon was president. I remember with Carter. We need that.
Yeah.
We need that. So we could understand that it was better days, it was better times. Not saying, oh, you old, we don't want to hear about that. No, we need to hear about it. Because what's going on nowadays? Everybody hating each other. Everybody mad at
Yeah.
each other. Nobody want to get along with one another. People say they want real relationships, but they not doing real things. People say they want certain things in their life and they can't even get along with their sister or their brother or their cousin or their aunt or their mother or their father. But they go to work thinking they're gonna have a good relationship with their coworker. They can't even get along with their mom. They can't even get along with their dad. They're not even happy
Yeah.
with themselves. So how you gonna have good relationships with other people?
It's a lot to think about. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I don't want my phone to die on you, but thank you so much for sharing your platform.
Nah, no problem. I'm gonna change the title because we had a real good conversation. I'm gonna just say,
Oh,
I'm gonna put something real good up there, and hopefully other people will latch on and catch on, and they'll listen to it. Now, I really appreciate you even tapping in. Like you helped my dynamic. Like you helped me change the topic and bring, because this is what I want to do more of. So you stay
okay.
blessed, sister. You and your family, your children. Again,
You
your time
too.
is highly appreciated. Your impact was definitely felt, and keep your spirits high. And
You too,
please,
sir.
sister, do what you do. I really appreciate this.
Okay. Good night now. Thank
All right,
you.
have a blessing.
Bye bye.
So yeah, that's what I do for people like that that have came up here, that have came up and show love, and that's what I need. I need that. I need people like that to come up and do what they do, and come up and show love and bring good energy, bring good vibes. And again, that being an older sister, she asked the right questions. She brought the right energy with her. And I could learn from that sister. She could teach me something. That's what it's about. A civilized adult conversation. That's what we need. But the only way we're going to build that, first and foremost, like I always say, guys, respect yourself. Self accountability, self awareness, self respect, self discipline, self control. That's important. That's important. She asked all the right questions. She allowed me to answer. And she got the questions not only that's needed for life, she got the questions that need to be answered on a large scale. On a large scale. So I really sincerely appreciate it. Truly. From the bottom of my heart. I'm glad that she came up. I'm glad she took the invite and came up. And that's why at times I drop the link, because I be needing people like that to come up. It's not about us agreeing or disagreeing. It's about us having a productive conversation. I'm not here to agree or disagree with anybody. That's why I always say my opinion only matter to me. It only matter to me. I don't want my opinion to matter to nobody else but me. But me. We have to learn how to do better for ourselves. Then we could pass it on, and they can start to resonate and translate to others. But we so committed to wanting to prove to other people how we gonna ride something out for them, and we neglect ourselves. And that's why I keep saying not to neglect yourself, trying to prove something to other people, how strong you are. Sometimes it takes strength to walk away from a situation and start walking with yourself. It takes strength some time to do that, to walk with yourself. That's why I started this off talking about being alone. Because sometimes you gotta do that. You gotta be alone so you can literally and logically find yourself. You gotta literally and logically find yourself. We all know life ain't perfect. We all know that. However, however, we got to start taking advantage of the things that we have to our disposal. We got to start taking advantage of the things we have to our disposal. That's important. Got to start doing that. Can't keep saying other people is against us and we against ourselves. I'm not saying that other people aren't against us, but we got to stop being against ourselves, meaning you as your own individual person. Stop being against yourself. Start uplifting yourself. Start encouraging yourself. Start teaching yourself. Start loving yourself. Better you. Then maybe you could work on other people. Start working on yourself. Self-improvement. Self-improvement. Start doing that. Working on yourself. That's important. Self-improvement. There's nothing wrong with that. Work on you. Work on you. There's nothing wrong with that. Improve yourself. Work on your communication skills. That's why I say things like, I dress for success, not to impress. I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm not better than no one. I'm just better than the old version of myself. I'm looking to outdo me. I'm not looking to outdo no one on the planet. I'm looking to outdo myself. I want to better me. I want to better myself. That's what I want to do. I want to better myself. I want to outdo nobody. It's nobody to outdo. I want to better myself. That's it. I'm not challenging anyone to do anything. For what? I'm going to challenge me to do better than I did yesterday. That's it. I'm not proving anything to anyone because there's no one to prove anything to. That's why we have so many issues, because so many people are trying to prove something to someone. Prove something to yourself. That's it. People got to learn to stop being their own worst enemy. Stop being their own worst enemy because you're trying to prove something to others. Ain't no need. Prove it to yourself. Show yourself. Show yourself. You ain't got to show nothing to nobody. Show yourself. Things will work out better for you. Show yourself. If you work on you, you can't worry about somebody else telling you what to work on. Just work on you. I work on me because when I was trying to work with other people and work on fixing whatever I had with them, it ended up getting worse because they trying to fix and work things out with me. I'm trying to fix and work things out with them. And in the process, we end up neglecting ourselves. They ain't paying enough attention to themselves. I ain't paying enough attention to me. So now I end up being catastrophic because they ain't doing enough for themselves and I ain't doing enough for me. And that's something we got to get back to. That's something we got to get back on. We got to get back on that. Like we behind with that. We slacking and lacking with that. We got to get back on that. Can't keep denying ourselves. Got to get better. We have to get better. But if we always worrying about our relationships with other people, how we gonna do anything for ourselves? How we gonna do that? We putting in all this work to show somebody else how much we dedicate, how much we gonna ride this out with them, and we end up not riding for ourselves. We end up neglecting ourselves. That's what we end up doing. We end up neglecting ourselves because we like, you know what? Nah, man, I'm gonna show them. I could ride this out. I could do this, that, and we neglect us. And it ain't no need for that. Ain't no need for that. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Leave it be. You ain't got to prove nothing. Prove to yourself you could be a better person than you was yesterday. That's it. That's it. Show yourself that. Show yourself that. Once you start showing yourself that, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. You'll be okay. You'll be all right. You know, and this is what I'm talking about though. This was a official adult conversation. Official adult conversation about life. Like I said, when I started, I was just gonna talk about being alone, but now I'm gonna talk about life. You know, so I'm gonna rename this and call it, just life. Or I might just keep it being alone. Might just keep it that. I don't know. I'm not for sure about that yet, but I might just do that. But the point is, I appreciate that, sister, for coming up and we having an adult conversation. Because that's what I build my platform for that. For that. Having a conversation alone or somebody coming up and we could now build. We could build. Not destroy each other, not bring each other down, not see it as if or feel as if I'm trying to belittle them, they trying to belittle me. So now it turns into a back and forth unnecessary thing. And all we need to do is just have a conversation about growth, about maturity, about honor, about dignity, about self-respect, self-control, self-awareness, self-accountability, about structure, about mental health, emotional intelligence. That's what's going on. That's what's important. That's what's going on. That's what's important. That's what means something. All that other stuff, it ain't about nothing. It's gonna lead right back to the same thing. Somebody getting aggravated, somebody getting frustrated, somebody being unhappy, somebody being unhinged, or somebody want to lash out, or somebody don't like something. And it's like it ain't even got to be that deep. It's other things we got to start focusing on and paying attention to. That's important. That's relevant. Other things we got to pay attention to. That's how it goes. Other things we got to pay attention to. Got to stop having problems with ourselves and with others. Pay better attention to ourselves. What we got to work on doing. Stop neglecting ourselves. Stop wanting to show other people how we going to ride something out with them. And in the process, we leave ourselves. We neglect ourselves. We leave ourselves because we like, nah, I'm going to ride this out. And it's like, that's good that you got the strength to do that. That's terrific. But in the process, you neglecting yourself. And that becomes frustrating because you like, man, I did all this for nothing. I put in all this work. Now they want to make it seem like boom, boom, bang, bang, bow. And it's like, no, They make it seem like I don't care about them, I don't love them. Man, I've been sacrificing for this many years, for this long amount of time. Just put the working on yourself. You got to get back to that. We got to get back to that. Self-love. That don't mean you don't love other people, but you have to start loving yourself more. You have to start doing that. You have to get back to that. You have to get back to that. You have to get back to that. That's important. Like we have to get back to that. Loving ourselves, being there for ourselves. Again, there's nothing wrong with showing somebody else how important they are to you. That's a blessing. But in the process, don't lose yourself. Like don't lose yourself. If you so caught up in, nah, I'm gonna show them. Like, yo, what? Nah, I'm a rider. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, man, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. You'll be all right. You'll see a difference. You'll notice it. But you gotta do it for yourself though. You can't base it off someone's reaction to it either. Don't worry about that. Like, just get it done. What you gotta do? Just get it done. Period. Period. Just get it done. Doesn't matter. Yeah, just yeah, I want to thank everybody for tapping in. Leo, uh, Jacqueline just tapped in. It's it's Spill It Spill It Girl TV. That's what it's called. Spill It Girl TV. I want to thank her. That's just for tapping in. So she definitely came through big time for me, my platform, for my listeners. I appreciate it. The energy was definitely needed. As I tell everybody, in particular my wise warriors, if you get this on the playback, try to, listen to it through and through so you can definitely get the information. And more importantly, you can see how to have a conversation without no attitude, no tension, no friction, no disrespect. You know, that's important. And I'm thankful for anybody else that I have had on my platform. We've been able to build and talk and grow. That's very important. So I'm thankful for anybody that ever came to my platform and we've been able to have an adult conversation and grow. I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that because that's what's going on and that's what's needed. More adult conversation. It doesn't matter who disagree with me. It don't matter who agree with me. It's not about that. It's about the conversation. We're going to further conversation. So therefore now we know about that particular subject, we could move on. It ain't personal. What I don't know, help me learn. What they don't know, maybe I can help them learn. Or if we don't know these things together, we can learn together. We could push each other in a direction where to get the information from: books, school, courses, classes, etc. But again, I'm not trying to outdo anyone. I'm looking to outdo myself. I want to be smarter or more intelligent than I was the day before. That's that. But I'm not challenging anybody. I don't want to debate, none of that. I want to outdo myself. That's how I operate. That's how I'm on it. That's how I'm on it. I'm not here to challenge, and I'm more smarter than you, and I'm more stronger than you, and I ain't into that, because that's from my perspective. That's not uplifting. Uplifting is, it don't matter what somebody know. They know something. They don't have to know what I know. I don't have to know what they know. They know something. Do I need to know and learn more things? Of course I do. So that's why it doesn't matter. That's why I listen. That's why I say learn to listen and listen to learn. Because I don't listen just to respond. I'm not or react. I'm not into that. That's not getting me anywhere. I'm listening. How can I criticize and say somebody don't know what they're doing or don't know what they're talking about if I ain't even listening? Through and through. I heard one or two things that I probably didn't like. And it's like, man, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. That's why I always tell people, no matter what someone put in their title or what's in someone's title on their video, try to go back to see what led up to that. Try to go back and see what led up to that. Try to go back and be like, no, what? Let me see how we get here. You don't have to be so triggered or so alarmed when somebody says something that you don't like or say something about someone you don't like. Sometime go back and look at what led up to that. It could have been something that led up to it that's like, oh, okay, now I have a better perspective or better understanding of what led to them saying what they're saying right now. But to just attack it or just be like, man, what? That's why I listen to learn. And I had to learn how to listen. I'm not listening just to react or respond. If that's the case, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen for that. I'm just going to be like, man, I'm just not going to pay it mind. It's things that I used to do that I don't do no more. So I could avoid that. I could avoid it triggering me or me just responding or reacting based off something that was said. I'm not going to do that. Just be like, you know what? If I just leave this alone, I ain't even got to worry about it no more. I can't worry about somebody going to criticize me or talk about me. I'm just going to leave it alone. Just going to leave it alone. I'm just going to leave it alone and keep it moving. And that's that. I don't worry about things I can't control. I'm driving down the road. Somebody cut me off. I can't control what they did in their car. I can control my car. I can hit my brakes. I could get in another lane and keep driving. But if I brake check them or I hit my lights or I pull up next to them and flip them a bird, that's on me now. I don't care what they did. That's on me. That's my bad now. So I only care and I'm only focused on what I can control. I can't control it. I don't care about it. It's out of my control. Do I want the government to be at a standstill or shut down? No. Should they shut down? What could I do? Don't matter if I go to Washington. It don't matter if I go to the Pentagon with picket signs. Please don't shut down. They don't care about me. And I could have a million people with me. They ain't gonna stop them from shutting down. They still gonna do what they gonna do. And even if I become a politician or be a part of the Senate, a senator, a governor, a mayor, that still ain't changing nothing. It still ain't changing nothing. I may be in the room now and can have a conversation with them, but that's not gonna stop them from like, yo, we shutting this down. I can't do nothing about that. Like I said, I may be in the room now, I can have a conversation, but I can't shut it, I can't stop them from shutting it down. Like they're gonna be like, okay, all right, Governor so and so, all right, Senator so and so, all right, man so and so, okay, we heard your part, but no, we still shutting this down. People out here, they in relationships, they married, they got kids, and they tell their kids one thing. You as a father tell your kid to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Your wife or the mother say, no, you ain't got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Now you're at a stalemate. I said what I said. My kid don't listen, or I get undermined. That's that. I'm not going back and forth about it. I'm leaving it alone. Whatever it make me, it don't matter. I'm just leaving it alone. I ain't going back and forth with nobody about nothing. If we gonna have an adult conversation where we could grow and build, no problem. But if we not, I got to go. And I'm not mad and I'm not hating. I'm not gonna say nothing about them. I'm not gonna say nothing about it. I'm gonna just keep it moving. I'm gonna keep it pushing. It ain't good for mental health. It ain't good for spiritual growth. It ain't good for psychological growth. It's just not. So why do it? Why be into it? Why do it? I ain't that frustrated. I'm not. And if I am, I'm gonna blame myself. So again, thanks for Spiller Girl TV. Leonardo, my friend, thanks for tapping in. Jacqueline, thanks for tapping in, Paul. I appreciate it. Major love, shout out to you. And again, as I say, Wise Warriors, y'all make sure y'all stay focused, self-respect, self-control, self-awareness, self-accountability, self-love. And don't forget, work on loving yourself so you can work on loving others. All right? Don't look to engage in unwarranted conversation, unwarranted confrontation. It ain't about nothing. It's about growth, evolution, maturity, mental intelligence, mental structure, mental stability. All right. So again, I want to thank everybody and thanks that sister for tapping in. Till next time. Peace and power. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, world.